Let's change that. Call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. We're going to be roll calling into executive session and pursuant to Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A1, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than professional competence of an individual, or to discuss the discipline or dismissal of or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. The board is expected to return to open session at 7 p.m. Ed?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Jason, yes. Becky?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
We'll see you back at 7.
Are we going to the conference room?
Sunday.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you all very much for being patient with us. We ran a little longer than anticipated. And now we'll call for the reorganization of the board. And I'll make a motion to make Becky the next chair.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Can I vote for myself?
Unanimous.
I make a motion. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to nominate Steve Baker for vice chair.
I'll second that.
Do you want to?
Oh, yeah. All right. All in favor? My first one, I'm already like, oh, no.
That was excellent.
All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
You're so good. Okay.
All right.
Now we go to public comment.
Yes. So public comment, were there any public comment requests submitted?
There was not,
Okay.
but we do have a department update.
Excellent.
Okay.
So I am reading this on behalf of the Council on Aging Director, Alyssa Lee. She wanted to thank everyone who took the time to complete the Council on Aging's recent community survey. The feedback is helping to shape conversations about the needs, priorities, and future of the Council on Aging in Groveland. The Council on Aging is inviting the community to join an upcoming conversation to hear a brief overview of what was learned through the survey, and just as importantly, to continue sharing your voice. Whether you completed the survey or not, this is an opportunity to be part of the conversation. They are offering 2 opportunities to attend. The first is on Monday, May 18th at 10 a.m. in the Center Meeting Room here at Town Hall. And the second is Thursday, May 21st at 3 p.m. at the Center Meeting Room here at Town Hall. And if there's any questions, you can contact the Groveland Council on Aging at 978-372-1101 with any questions. And there's also a flyer, and we will make sure to have this posted up on our website, social media, as well as here in Town Hall, in addition to all of the other advertisement that the Council on Aging is doing.
When was the second time of it?
It was Thursday, May 21st at
Okay.
3 p.m.
Thank you.
All right, excellent, thank you. So for discussion and possible vote, we have 2 special event permits we're going to do first. So first up is Groveland Congregational Church and their 300th Anniversary Living History Block Party. This is a request for a special event permit to use Perry Park for their block party on Saturday, June 20th, 2026. And we have someone to speak to that. Just make sure the microphone's on. Excellent.
Well, it's a very exciting time at our church. I don't know if you've all noticed, we have a new sign out front, and it's just, which made us have to power wash the church, because now we have to put a new lawn in, because it's just such a beautiful and exciting time. So I gave you an original date for the end of June, but because of I hoped I was going to get to see you sooner. And so we're going to push it up until September, if that works.
Okay.
And I'm looking at September 5th on Labor Day weekend. And so that, I know that could create some logistical things, but time-wise, I only have that date or the day of the Groveland Days, and I just think that would not work, obviously. So I would like to let's see what I put here. So I was looking at Labor Day, and I have some papers here that will help you. Did you get these?
Yes.
Yes,
Yep, I
okay.
have this.
So we're looking at the end of, maybe if anybody would like to see. This is what we're looking at. So what we're looking to do here, when you look at that schematic, I'm looking at having 6 units. Each unit will represent 50 years of the Groveland Congregational Church. We'll be covering, because Groveland was founded by the people who actually started the church, and many of the names are still here, and as you may all know. Yes, so this is what it's going to look like up here. Thank you for doing that. So each of the units will cover 50 years, and we're looking for reenactors. We're looking for anybody who would like to dress up and be a part of this. We have team leaders for each of the units. The first unit, it will start up in the corner, and that will be Native American and colonialist when they first came. They worked very intimately together. Things got worse later. So anyway, I felt that I have some friends that are Native American from here. And one of the things they said, they wanted me to be a part to show their resilience, that they are still here and they still have a voice in this area. And I thought, okay, so we're going to have a Three Sisters garden, and we'll be planting it in a couple of weeks. So I wasn't going to do it, but now that I pushed it up to September, I can. So in each unit, we'll have a group of people, and they'll be interacting like you'd be going to, Plymouth Plantation. We're hoping it's going to have that feel. The next one is when the church actually got founded, and then the next unit is the Underground Railroad, and as you know, we have been part of that. A lot of people were unsure, but from Newburyport, the people I've spoken to in Newburyport, we most likely were one of the groups of families, because they went to people's homes, but they also were fed in the basements of churches. So that's that one. So then the next one will be like the Civil War, and we're going to do that right on Perry Park on the monument. As you can see, that'll be there. Then the next one is the 1920s. 20s, yes. And we have actually somebody's going to bring a Model T, so it's going to be really everybody's all excited about this. Now, Rebecca was upset about this one because, unfortunately, our children will do everything by phone. But I put it there on purpose because what we're going to do, each unit is going to have a QR code. And the QR code will bring them to the website that'll give them the story that each unit will be telling. And it's also an idea that I got from the folks that are going to be doing Perry Park over. They want to do something similar. So I thought, wow, all of us working together, this could become part of that, and vice versa. So I'm very excited about the whole thing. So logistically, we would probably need so from the parsonage, corner of the parsonage, going across, not covering Union, so people can go up Union. And then Perry Park will have 3 units. Then one of the units, so the 3 will be here. So that would be blocked off, and these 2 will be blocked off, this Main Street. And then we'll end up in front of the church, and there'll be band and music. And the choir actually has learned 3 songs from hymnals from the early 18th century and before that. So there's a lot of good fun things that are going to happen. I thought we'd get food trucks. That way, that would keep things easier. And having been on the Pray Committee last year, I learned a real lot about how things work. Mm-hmm. So we'll probably need a couple of details. I think we talked about that. We questioned whether we might have a beer garden, but it's really going to be liability and everything. It really isn't worth it. And it really is going to be a family event. Mm-hmm. And we're hoping to have it like from 11 to 6 so that everybody has time to set everything up. The other thing is that we will be able to, we're going to rent a trolley car, and we would like to be able to use the Pines to park people and bring people up on the trolley. And I thought that would be kind of fun to do. And so we want to work with everything so everything moves. So that's pretty much my story. And so in June, the end of June, we'll be dedicating our new sign. We also, I've written a children's book. You can go online and see it. It's called I'm Still Ringing. You can get pre-orders on Amazon, and it's about Belle, our Belle story. I do have it. I just showed my friends over here, and so you can take a peek on that too. So we'll have a book launch on that. That's citywide. Anybody wants to come, and we'll be dedicating, and then we're going to have a picnic afterwards. That's the 27th of June. And then on the 14th and 15th of June, we have one of our kids is graduating for the Masters in Museum Science. And she has literally with Tracy, they went down there and we got so much information that my book, Belle, her name is Belle, Belle. So from now on, you have to refer her to her real name. Anyway, they found us a lot of really great stuff. So we're going to have a living exhibit at the church, and we have a flyer that will be going out as well. So this whole year, we're hoping to do some really great things along the way, and somehow everyone is invited because we're all a part of this 300-year history. So I just wanted to ask your permission if we can do it.
Excellent. First question I'm going to ask for our town administrator, September 5th, with that change, is it available? Is everything okay to move? Okay. Because also with the parking and the Pines, would that be a permit for that as well, too?
I think we could move it into one approval if that
Okay.
was something that the board wanted to do.
Okay.
There was additional dates thrown in there
Okay.
for the 14th and 15th. Is that part of a special?
Oh, no, that's in June. So in June, the 13th and 14th of June is an exhibit at the church with all our artifacts. And that's our June, and then the following week is our dedication of the sign, and we'll be launching the book and having a picnic. So that's for June.
That was
Then,
more informational.
yeah.
Yes. Trying to get you to go to some
And
events.
so summer, I'm actually going to be going to Zimbabwe on a mission trip, so I'll be gone from July 30th to August 18th. And so that really is the window I have. We could do it in August, but I felt that the weekend, most people right now with the circumstances will be around, and everybody's looking for something to do on Memorial Day, so I thought that would be a really good weekend to do it.
Good, so I'll go ahead and fly a motion to approve the request for a special event permit for the Groveland Congregational Church to use Perry Park for their block party, with the date in September to be determined between the church and Rebecca at a later time.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Wait,
Discussion?
Discussion. Sorry, I messed it up already. Discussion.
do you need a rain date or anything, or what's the deal with that?
So I don't know. I don't even want to go there. If we do a rain date, it would probably be the very next day, unless
Okay.
there's something,
Yeah.
So it'd be September 5th if we do that, then it would be the 6th. But I don't think I would push it out any further than that.
Right, because of all the,
Exactly,
yeah, it's a
yeah.
lot of work.
So, and what's great is each unit is its own group of people.
Okay.
So they all just have to show up and do their unit.
Yeah,
So it'll be an
okay.
easy turnaround.
okay.
All right,
All right,
any
that's
other questions or discussion? No? Okay. Now, all in favor? Unanimous?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep. All right. And next up, another special permit, Council on Aging and Nourishing the North Shore Veg Out Mobile Market. It's a request for a special permit for the COA in Nourishing the North Shore to hold a weekly farmers market from June to November at 181 Main Street with use of the tent. One thing when reading this, it's every other week, right? It's not weekly?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Excellent. And we have Nisha here to give us more information, and Tanny, is that how you say your name? Okay. Yes.
That's correct. Thank you for including me.
Excellent. Yes. So if you want to tell us a little bit about your event, that would be great.
Yes, absolutely. So we're here to request a food permit to hold a free mobile market for 12 weeks, bi-weekly, beginning June 9th through November 10th on the town property. This will be open to all community members, not just people who are 60 and over and not just Groveland residents.
Fabulous.
I can talk a little bit about what the market is all about. So we at Nourishing the North Shore, we source fresh local food from a variety of farms in Essex County and in southern New Hampshire, and we pay the farmers for their delicious locally grown produce. And then we bring that food to partners like the Groveland COA, who help us to distribute that food to individuals who are low income or experiencing food insecurity. So we really rely on partnerships like the Groveland COA to help us get the word out that this food is available in the community. We have rising food insecurity in Massachusetts, with as many as 43% of individuals in Essex County experiencing food insecurity. So we know this is a real need, and we are really excited for the opportunity to partner with Groveland COA so that we can bring fresh food to the community at no cost.
Excellent, thank you. I agree, this is a great way to almost make it a little fun, too. I think having a farmer's market in that environment is a lot different, right, than going to a food bank. It's a little bit more interactive. So I was really excited to see this on the agenda today. So thank you for putting this together.
I've got two questions. One is 181 Main Street, where is that?
So that will be
183, right?
behind the public safety building where the buses used to pack in the back corner.
Okay, perfect. And then the other is food permit. That's something that would have to be issued by the Board of Health.
Board of Health,
Correct, the permitting would be with the Board of Health.
it says,
Okay, so we can issue the,
it says they don't need it. Did you see the little thing
Yeah,
here?
it's in the notes from the board.
In the notice.
You don't need it.
oh, because she was just requesting it, so I just wanted to make sure we got
Correct.
clarification.
Just for the use of the property.
So just a special event permit.
Correct.
Right,
So that's what we can do
okay.
regardless.
Right, it says on the bottom, this event does not require any type of permitting through the Board of Health so long as the produce is uncut and no other food items are being sold or offered.
Perfect.
Correct. Yep,
Yes.
these are all whole vegetables
Okay, excellent,
and fruit.
excellent.
So I'll make a motion to approve the special event permit for the COA and Nourishing the North Shore to hold a weekly farmers market from June to November at 181 Main Street.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion or questions? No? Okay, all in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you so much. I look forward to
Thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next on the agenda, we're gonna change things around a little bit, just for the sake of people being here to come in and get out. But traffic stop data review, presentation from Police Chief Gillen. Oh. You're up. Yeah. No, that's okay,
worries,
that's
no
okay.
worries.
I'm trying to be mindful of our guest speakers.
Thank you. I
coming in.
appreciate you
Yeah,
changing
absolutely.
things around for me.
Yep.
So I'm Jeff Gillen, the Chief of Police here in Groveland, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. This is at the board's request. I'm here to provide an overview of current traffic conditions, the trends we're seeing, and the steps we're taking to address the ongoing concerns. Over the past several months, we've seen a noticeable increase in traffic volume and traffic-related violations. The most common issues we're encountering include speeding, failure to obey traffic control devices, and the distracted driving. We're also seeing that certain roadways and neighborhoods are experiencing more consistent problems, particularly during peak travel times. In response to these concerns, we've taken a number of proactive steps. First, we've developed a portable digital sign in areas, deployed a portable digital sign in areas where speeding complaints are highest. These signs give drivers immediate feedback on their speed and have proven to be an effective tool in increasing awareness and slowing traffic. Second, we've implemented directed patrols in identified problem areas. These patrols are scheduled during times when violations are most likely to occur, allowing us to focus our enforcement where it can have the greatest impact. Third, we've increased our traffic enforcement efforts through the grant funding. We awarded $11,040 to support additional traffic initiatives between November and August. This funding allows officers to work extra enforcement shifts, specifically targeting high-risk violations without impacting our regular patrol staffing. As a result of these combined efforts, we have conducted an increased number of traffic stops. The increase is intentional and focused on improving driver behavior. The goal is not simply enforcement, but visibility and deterrence. When motorists see active enforcement and are reminded of their speed in real time, compliance improves and overall roadway safety increases. Moving forward, we will continue to monitor traffic patterns, adjust our enforcement strategies as needed, and make use of tools like grant funding, traffic calming measures to address community concerns. Thank you for your time. I'd be happy to answer any questions to provide additional information, which I did supply. Oh, you have it here. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of data.
There's a lot of data, and I got to thank Stephen, our new administrative assistant, for a lot of work in this. This is just real data that can give you a view of what's really going on. If you look, there's been, just from January 16th to the beginning of this month, there's been 4,396 traffic-related things. And you look, the highest one is directed patrols. That just shows what a good job the officers are doing by being out there and addressing the concerns. And the directed patrols are usually initiated by the citizens of the town that have concerns or areas that we've recognized as problem areas. And then the rest speaks for itself, how many motor vehicle stops. The directed patrols, that's their main focus. We are not giving out a lot of fines. I believe that education can be achieved by just being stopped by a police officer can be impactful enough. So there's not a lot of fines, but there are a lot of stops, and the officers, again, are doing a great job. They've signed up for these extra patrols. They're looking for work. They're looking for the overtime, and it's grant funded. We're in the process of applying again for the next year, and that should be more money, so we'll be able to continue that. I don't know if you have any questions. I don't want to take up your time and go through everything, but we've actually broke down the streets. We've identified what streets need the most attention, what streets are the most problem areas. The ones that were dispatched, the ones that they've addressed, so.
All right, any
That's
questions?
phenomenal.
Right? It's fascinating. I'll start with you, Kathy. Any questions?
Yeah. So, like, I think the sign down on Main is helpful. I see people slow down ahead of me when they see it flash up and tell them, you're going too fast. Is it, like, everybody always seems to say that we're not able to put a different speed limit on some roads, like Salem Street, especially near the four-way stop and all the way through to when you get to Washington Park, is heavily traversed by children and walkers and people on bicycles. And I think the 25 mile an hour is not, I don't even know if it's properly posted, but could that be expanded to include, is that justification because there's a park and there's kids trying to get to the park, and the traffic might slow down for the four-way stop, but they speed up fairly rapidly afterwards. And,
Yeah, so that's a good area to discuss for a minute, if I could. Working with Rebecca, we're trying to get the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission. That request has been sent out, because the first step
Okay.
is to do some research, get some data to see if there's a problem. Years and years ago, I had them do that on Seven Star Road, and they ended up increasing the speed, so, because they look at the average speed.
but that's what,
So it can backfire at times, too. So you need the data, and you need the when you see the black line across the road, they're collecting data.
okay.
So that's, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rebecca, that's what we're doing first. I know I mentioned that, and she shared the email with me, so that's in the works right now. And then the board can weigh in and have some authority to
Right.
take votes on if they want to reassign speed limit signs. But otherwise, if they're not posted, it's thickly settled, is
So
30.
we can
and-
set a speed limit sign? I didn't think we could do that. Ooh, this is great.
Well, you have to have a data-based, I think, before you can just,
Well, I'm looking at like 30 miles an hour at the one end of Washington Street, and the other end, it's 25 miles an hour, but just for a little tiny piece.
And I agree with you, so we're working on that.
Yeah.
The other things, again, I hate to keep putting Rebecca on the spot, but we worked on that together. and,
Okay, good.
You see the new white lines out here?
Yeah.
I've been begging them for years with boards from 10, 15, 20 years ago. We wanted to do something out here, and it's busier than ever. With all the great things going on at the Pines.
Yep.
The speed limit's too fast here, so.
It is.
We couldn't get them because they did that data, and they wouldn't reduce the speed for us. I actually put them in my cruiser and drove them and showed them, the best they would do is the traffic calming, which we're thankful they're doing that, and there's more to come with that project. They're gonna put some pillars in the middle of the road to make, it's too much, people aren't slowing down enough, so. And then Rebecca's also got another project up by the Bagnell, they were doing something on Center Street.
Okay,
So, and also with grant funding, we got another speed sign. We're talking about maybe making that more movable
okay,
for some area,
Right.
hot spots in town.
yeah,
So we've tried, working, the process does take longer than I think we'd
Yeah.
all would like to do that. That one took years, but as the traffic's growing and with the lights being installed, like near the Tea Garden,
yeah.
people are taking these back roads, and they're not made for all that traffic, they're not made for that speed. So
Right.
it's really starting to hurt the back roads, and we're getting inundated at times with complaints. So the problem is just the amount of officers we have. Right now, we have less officers than we'd like, so we're spreading them thinner. But with
Okay.
this grant, those are extra patrols, and the officers have luckily signed up because they're looking for the overtime, and so that grant is working for us. Otherwise, there's just, unfortunately, we're just short-staffed, and you might not see a cruiser on the road for hours, just if the detective's in the station working on something, or
Right,
somebody's out sick, so it's not constant, but with the numbers, we know where to put our efforts when we have them available.
right. No, I don't question that. What I'm wondering is that they don't take into account, like, if there's like, the Pines Recreation Area now has grown, and a lot more foot traffic, bicycle traffic, skateboarders are on their way there, and if people are going, what is it 40 now, or is it 35, 40?
35 right here.
Okay.
And I wanted to.
I knew
continue-
that, no,
I'd like them to continue 25 up through here.
Well, yes, so that's what I'm wondering. What does it take to be able to show that there's, you can get the car traffic, but how about the people that are on foot or on bicycles trying to get across this road, line of sight and that speed?
That was,
Yeah,
that's all the things that Merrimack Valley Planning Commission looked into, is the line of sight and the amount of traffic, and they did the study for the speed, and that's,
yeah,
I think it's the best they're gonna do for us for now. Again, it's been something we've requested for a while.
okay.
I mean, we could try petitioning again and say it's still not working.
Good.
And not give up.
And then the other thing I thought, and I don't know if you know anything about this, and you don't have to use colored paint, but there's like, you can make a crosswalk look like it's 3D.
That's kind of what they're doing out here with these lines. You see the lines?
The calming lines?
Yeah.
No. But
Yeah.
this actually makes it, like, as you're driving up to the crosswalk, it like pops out at you more.
Well, next,
Yeah.
and Rebecca, aren't they putting those pillars in the middle of the road? They're just waiting, they're waiting for winter to go
Meters.
away, so winter's hopefully gone, so that you should be seeing, they're gonna be in the middle of the road. It's gonna be even more effective or irritating to some. It's gonna be.
Oh, 'cause they-
Yeah, it might not go over well, but we gotta slow people down in this area between the senior citizens, the emergency vehicles that are leaving,
Right,
the
right.
town hall employees and visitors, and now the Pines it's just an area that should be slowed down.
Right. No, it's getting out of hand, and I think the big concern that I hear from most residents is, we are going to be welcoming, at least 200 people to this town with those apartments, if not more, and they're all going to want to be out and about, and the speeds that we're seeing right now, at least that I see when I go out and take walks in the evening, they're so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously a little bit away from the police department, so they feel like they can just whoosh
Yeah.
and get to Haverhill and hide. But they're really fast, and I know the kids that I see riding bikes to Washington Park and around, they don't look.
Yeah.
They just bike, and do we have to wait for that? Or, it just seems like if there's a park nearby, it should be a reason to lower the speed limit.
So that's the next one on
Yeah,
the list. We've also
yeah.
talked recently, we had a meeting about changing the crosswalk up by Dr. Doc's dentist area.
Oh, yeah.
So we're working on that.
Take your life in your hands on
Yeah,
that one.
no, it's.
You got to sprint.
So Rebecca's worked on that. Arthur, our highway superintendent's been involved.
Good.
We've had meetings. So it's probably good that you asked me to come in, because it's good to keep you up to date on what's going on, and that we are trying to do more. There's more to be done. And
Right. No,
we
we
need some outside
appreciate
help.
that. We really do. Thank you.
Excellent. Jason?
No, I think you've all got it very well planned out, with especially since everybody's involved.
Yeah.
The highway department, Rebecca, you, your police officers. So the residents and when they call in, they're being heard and they're stepping up patrols in the areas. So I think it's very well executed.
So I just put out a press release that we have an online portal where people can file a complaint or a concern about traffic. And we've got several since that article.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's,
Interesting, good.
some people just, they're uncomfortable calling or coming in, so
Yeah.
they can do it just from their computer, so. if
It's
we
definitely a
don't-
sign of incredible communication.
Steve?
Two things. First of all, the data is fantastic. This is actually kind of what I was hoping we would see, because I think it helps with figuring out, I think in the documentation, it talks about how 78% of the calls are on like 5 streets. So that gives us some direction. It sounds like it's already happening around where we should be focusing energy and thinking about. So that's great. Just one question, and I don't know if you have this information handy. Do we have any sense of, like, if you looked at this data a year ago, how much it's grown over time? Is it 10% more calls this year? Is it, or 10% more stops this year? Is it
I didn't do a
5%?
comparison, I could.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting just to understand. I mean, we know it's going up, but the question is, I think, by how much?
The reason why I limited it to this is because we just went to our new in-house,
Right.
going to the regional dispatch. That's when we went online. So it was a little more complicated, especially for Stephen, the assistant.
Sure.
So he doesn't know the old system, and it'd be harder to extract that information. So it's 2 different
Makes sense.
systems. Now that we have this and we have this new system, it will be easier to compare and see the good and the bad.
That makes sense.
And Ed? Any questions? No? MV is motor vehicle stop.
Yeah.
Is that right? It's interesting because you could see it jumped in April. It like doubled in April.
Then that's when they started getting out, doing those enforcements with the grant.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just more effective and safer for the officers. Not that they're not doing anything in the winter, but that's when you see the traffic increases as summer
Yeah.
and the better weather.
Yeah.
And we're
Oh,
trying to
absolutely.
concentrate now while the officers are available.
Yep.
To work.
Excellent. And if I can, I'm going to tell my husband you give tickets, though, not just warnings, okay?
Yeah.
I know that they keep track of all the warnings.
Okay.
If you get too many warnings, then they will
Okay.
issue a.
All right, I just want, like, for the record, right?
Is that from experience?
Not from experience, but I know somebody from down at the dog park that was issued a couple warnings on Gardner Street
Okay.
and was told that the next time it won't be a warning.
Okay.
And that they didn't have a choice.
Good to know, good to know. No, this is all great. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you again, and we can
Okay,
see the
yeah.
statistics again, because I think they are very helpful to getting a pulse on what's going on in town.
It's the community that knows what's going on more
Yes.
than the police, believe it or not, because it's their neighborhoods, they see it.
Yeah.
And if they don't tell us, we don't always know, and we
Yeah.
encourage it. They think they're bothering us, but we're there for that reason. We're there to help, and we want to serve, so I just encourage people, and if you don't see an improvement, please call again, and some people do, say, hey, the same problem, so.
Yeah. And I like the online form that you
Yeah.
mentioned, too, because I think sometimes, yeah, you question, do I really want to bother them with this? You could just submit something, so that's great. I live on Salem Street on the
Okay.
dragway there, so,
Yeah.
yeah. So I get it. But thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate your
welcome.
time.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you taking the time to have me in.
Yes, thank you very
All right,
much.
have a good night, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And
All right. So next up on the agenda, assign alternate member for Zoning Board of Appeals application, ZBA 2026-03, One Elm Park special permit. John Guilfoyle is listed here.
Correct. We do have a 5-member board. However, one of the board members must recuse themselves because they are related to the applicant.
Okay.
And therefore, they need a 5th member because it's a special permit. So we are looking to assign one board member to fill that role just for this application as a temporary position.
Okay. So for an alternate member, is it someone from this board that we're
Correct.
putting
Just for
forth?
this application.
Okay.
And they will be meeting on May, I believe, 27th.
May 27th? Okay. Do we have any volunteers?
I'll volunteer since I know that I'm a little familiar with it from the planning board.
All right, could I get a motion?
So I'll make a motion to appoint Jason Naves as the temporary or alternate member to the Zoning Board of Appeals for application ZBA 2026-03.
Second that?
All right, any further discussion? Nope, okay, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, thank you, Jason.
No worries.
Next up, we have amendment to MVPHA intermunicipal agreement, inclusion of Newburyport.
So this is an agreement that you've seen a couple of times come before the board. This is for the shared health services for the Board of Health. They are looking to essentially just add Newburyport to the list. So nothing in the agreement is changing, none of the services are changing, none of the other terms are changing. It's just the inclusion of an additional municipality. So in order for them to join, they must receive a unanimous vote from all those municipalities that are participating currently.
Okay. And this is similar to the regional 911 thing too, right? It's
Not
so much.
entirely.
Okay.
It's funded through the Massachusetts Department of Public Health,
Right.
and it's a shared position where they're hosted in Amesbury. So if we're looking for additional assistance with food inspections, there's somebody that can come into Groveland and assist with that and give the information for the Board of Health, especially in our situation where we currently don't have a health agent. So we've been capitalizing on those services, but those services are also offered to other communities in addition to outreach, as well as implementing new programs and creating additional awareness to public health issues in the region.
Okay,
Right.
excellent.
I'll make a motion to approve it for purposes of discussion.
Second that.
All right, and discussion?
Well, I would just say, I support it. I hope we don't lose out on some of the services we're already getting, but, you know, we didn't learn anything from the pandemic. We learned that when things start to go wrong, it's helpful to have an organization to help you staff whatever you need to staff. And this organization would come through for us if we had a significant problem and we didn't have staffing for it.
Jason?
I do think it's odd that Newburyport wanted a part of this. But, yeah, I support it.
Did somebody second my motion?
Yes, I did.
Oh, good, thank you.
I'm on it.
Okay, just check.
And Steve, any?
I don't have any questions.
No? And Ed?
All set.
Okay, all right, well, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you so much. Next up, we have the Groveland Housing Authority, Consolidated Annual Contributions Contract for 2026.
So you'll see in your packet on the second page of this particular section what the executive director is proposing for the use of this funding. So it looks like they're looking for phase 2 replacement of interior flooring in all of the housing units. And it's going to be about $152,000 that would be associated with such. And in order for them to move forward, they do need to have this voted on and signed by the select board.
Okay.
And I'll make a motion to approve it for purposes of discussion.
I'll second that.
All right. Ed, any questions or discussion?
No, this is something that comes before us every year, and it's, in order to get reimbursed from the state, from the federal government, they need approval here.
Yeah.
So, I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Steve?
No, I took a look at it. It looks very similar to what they asked for last year and the year before.
And Jason?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's something that they need to do to service the people that live there, so.
Okay. And Kathy?
I guess I'll approve it, but I would, going forward, we approve these sums of money. Last year, I think they said they were going to do the pull cords because nobody could reach them. They were stuck behind the beds or something, and
Yeah.
we never seem to see how much they spent and whether everything got done. All we get is another request going forward, and this one is for painting, right? And then $150,000 for flooring upgrades of all the units. I think that's 90 units. So I would just like to see that some kind of breakout of how the money is spent and whether or not it actually gets spent on what they've entitled. That we never get that. And I know they don't report to us, but we have to approve it. So we're just blanketly approving sums of money and hoping that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. And I guess I wonder,
So you're looking for the checks and balance?
yes, I am. Yeah, I'd like to see a check and balance, make sure that the work that we're approving actually gets done and, that these repairs and things are being done.
Is that something we could request from the managing director?
I can make a request to Clara, who's the executive director.
Okay.
So maybe I think last year's award, they spent, like 30,000 of it on pull cords, I guess? Is that all? That's what they did? And then they're just sitting on the rest of it? Right? It'd just be nice to know, because we're just blindly approving these sums of money, and we just don't know. We don't receive confirmation that the work got done. They ask us to just approve it, because if they need our approval, I would think we would need to know what got done.
I can ask for a status update.
All right,
It just
great.
makes sense, that's all.
All right, all in favor for this motion? Unanimous? Next up, we have donation approval. Approve the allocation of $50,000 from the Francis Sullivan donation to be reserved for roof and electrical upgrades at the library.
So this was something that was discussed as part of the capital improvement plan. We had decided that we were going to move forward with the roof replacement and the electrical upgrades here at Town Hall, over at the Public Safety Building, as well as the library. The library did receive a donation of $450,000 that the Select Board has the authority to disperse on the physical building itself. And in looking at the repayment strategy with the bond that we will soon be voting on at your May 26th meeting, and was already authorized at town meeting on April 27th, we are looking to add $50,000 to go towards that allocation to offset those funds in our operating budget. And that would go towards the library portion for this upcoming fiscal year. So it was already approved and discussed as part of the capital improvement plan, but an official vote was not taken to set aside that $50,000 for said purpose. So this is just a formal vote to do that, so that we can make sure that those monies are set aside, so that when we do submit the paperwork for the bond, we do have a certified vote of the Select Board for setting aside that $50,000.
I make a motion to approve this, setting aside the allocation of $50,000 from the Francis Sullivan donation to be reserved for roof and electrical upgrades at the library.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? No, nothing? All right, all in favor? Unanimous. Next up, we have post-town meeting review of articles.
So I put together just a brief presentation, just so that everybody can follow along. So the official meeting minutes have been drafted by the town clerk, and they are available for viewing up on the town website. And we are getting ready to submit all of the required forms to the Attorney General's office. We are also, as we just discussed, preparing the bond issuance documents that will be before the board for May 26th. And as we have gone through historically, just a nice reminder that zoning updates are effective upon town meeting approval, and general bylaw updates are not effective until the approval is received from the Attorney General's office. So just a couple of recaps in regards to the articles, because there was a lot of back and forth this year, and there's a lot of confusion as to what passed and what had failed. So I just highlighted the ones where there was major amendments, and just highlighted again what had passed and what had failed. So Article 2 was in regards to the discussion of the parcel on Wood Street. There was an amendment to postpone the article, and that failed, and the article as written had passed. Then for Article 3, which is the authorization to lease residential units at VZ, there was an amendment made, and that amendment passed, and that authorized the Conservation Commission to lease the 3 residential units at Washington Street. And then for Article 4, there was an amendment offered to change the proposed article to include valued leases of no more than $35,000 in addition to residential units. That motion failed, and the article as presented had passed. For Article 6, capital improvement bylaws, a friendly amendment was accepted to add "and residents," and that passed. Article 10, the right to farm bylaw, there were 2 amendments. There was one friendly amendment to add "led by Bagnell student farmers," and that passed. And there was also an amendment to add "no roosters," and that failed. And then Article 12, which was the zoning bylaw for marijuana establishments, an amendment was made to require all facilities to use town water, not private wells. That passed. Article 15 for common driveway zoning bylaw update, there was an amendment to limit that from 3 to 2, and that amendment passed. Article 31, there were 2 amendments to the free cash articles. One was the removal of the TASER fundings, and that failed. And then there was also an amendment to remove the $10,000 for the electronic voting, and that failed. For community preservation articles, Article 18 was the only article that failed, and that was the CPA acknowledgement signage. All other CPA projects had passed. So one of my key takeaways in regards to what I can do to try and help facilitate the process next year is I would like to take a closer look at the schedule for submission and review of warrant articles. I would like to propose that we have a submission deadline of February, and then we have a more detailed review with the select board on the articles so that we can ignite a more communicative type of strategy with residents who might want to issue amendments to those proposed articles, and that we close the warrant in March so that we can, again, make sure that they go through the proper legal review and then have, again, more time to discuss as part of the select board process to make sure that we're engaging with residents in advance of town meeting and refining all of the details and the language prior to getting to town meeting. And then the second thing I'd like to do is I'd like to create a warrant summary book, similar to when we have an election, a state election, and you get that red book that comes in the mail, and it gives you like a detail of if you say yes, this is what this means. If you say no, this is what this means. But just a little bit more information rather than just the summary that only has like 2 sentences in the warrant, which seems appropriate for the warrant because the warrant's the official document. But this would be like a supplemental thing, and hopefully we can get that out onto the website and in person, in paper copy to people in advance, and then have that available for people at the actual town meeting, because if they're flipping through, maybe there's a simple question that gets answered beforehand. And then working with the moderator, there's a couple of other ideas we have about those who submit articles, maybe allowing them to make a brief statement prior to opening discussion so that they can kind of introduce the article for those that have not taken a look at the summary book and or have not participated in some of the other meetings in advance. Not to overburden the public meeting process, but at the same time to make sure that the information is there, it's out there, that people have their answers to their questions, and try and kind of streamline it in regards from an informational standpoint. So that's just my update in regards to the town meeting and some of my key takeaways, again, on what I can do, and then maybe what the select board can do to enhance that process. But I wanted to make sure that we recap those articles, because I think, again, one of the major takeaways I received is, what passed and what didn't pass. So for those that are interested, you can find that information on our website, and we can also print the minutes for anybody who would like a paper copy.
All right. Any questions or comments? Ed?
One thing that I'd like to see changed is make it easier to present amendments. That, and I don't know how you could do that, but it was just, it took a tremendous amount of time for the individuals to write out the amendment, a proposed amendment, and it slowed down the town meeting process. And I don't know how you can do it, but just people go to the meeting and they want to propose at the last minute, they want to propose some kind of an amendment, but then they got to write it out. There's got to be a better way of doing it. And I know that's something that's it's been in effect for quite a while, but it's got to be easier. This town meeting, I saw more amendments than I probably ever seen. in all the town meetings that I've been to. And it slowed the town meeting down tremendously.
Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree completely about the amendment process, and I know, I had some thoughts that I shared with the town administrator about that in terms of, maybe if an amendment needs to be written out, instead of stopping in the middle of the meeting to write it out, we simply postpone that amendment or postpone that article until the end of that section. So, when we move, if there's a major amendment that needs to be put on Article 3 and the transition from general bylaws to zoning bylaws is Article 15, we go back to Article 3 then, once it's all written out and cleaned up. But ultimately, I think that's the town moderator's decision. The only thing I was going to comment on is I like the idea of closing the warrant in March. When we update that governance and strategy schedule, let's put that on there so we have kind of a firm, this is when that is going to happen.
Yeah.
Jason? Nothing? Kathy?
So many good ideas. No, I think Rebecca's proposal on the summary of the warrant articles would be critical, and I would suggest that the amendments have a table with a chair, and that if you are looking through that and you see something you think you're going to maybe want to do an amendment, go get it done. Don't wait till the article comes back. I don't necessarily agree with jumping back and forth between articles, because I feel like that's going to confuse the town meeting further. From my experience in like public speaking and in teaching, I can say this, that I feel that if we're lucky enough, and we seem to be getting there, to get over 100 people in that room on time, that's a good thing, that's a positive thing. So one of the thoughts I had was to maybe divide the seating into quadrants, have them angled more so they can have that angled view, and then the microphone, instead of being in the front, because when someone's in the front and you're looking at their back, even though you hear them, it's hard to comprehend. We like to see the face while someone's speaking to kind of understand what they're saying. If we could have the microphones mid-back and maybe in the back, at least then people could kind of angle to look at who's speaking, and it might help understand what they're trying to explain or ask a question about. Because I think there was definitely a disconnect in understanding what was being said all the time. It got very confusing, and that comes from, we're looking right at them, but the rest of the town meeting is looking at the back, and then I know some people try to turn around to look at everybody, but it could be set up better, and I think the summary book is like, wow, that would be fantastic. Put that right on the table, buy the amendment sheets, and then, even have somebody, maybe Annie there. So if someone's having a difficulty writing something out, they have to say what they want. We can't write for them, but they could maybe write it more quickly if somebody has doesn't write really quickly. Okay, but you should be told by the moderator to get your amendment ready before that article comes up. We shouldn't be stopping the meeting, and we certainly shouldn't have everybody up and the moderator blocking this view of the room. Because then the meeting just comes to a dead halt. And that was somewhat confusing too, because then we're wondering, what are we waiting for? And we weren't sure. So we got through it. We know that it took too long, and we'll endeavor. I personally think a meeting should go no more than 2 hours max, because after that, the brain drain and the exhaustion is setting in. So the summary booklet, I think, will shorten everything to the point where people will read that summary and they'll know right off, I don't like this article, or, no, this is good. I think that's brilliant. Thank you for that.
After the town meeting, I had just had some spare time in my evenings and torturing my husband of watching other town meetings to see what happens on the other side. So that's 10 hours. West Newbury was really quick. So instead of the yelling vote, they have green and red laminated flags as a visual vote, and it just seemed to go like clockwork. I think they have a quorum of just 40 people, but it looked like they had a good crowd there. In Georgetown, they were using the electronic voting. A couple things to keep in mind. It was weird watching it because they would say the article, and it was 90 seconds of voting time. So I put that into context. That's an extra 58.5 minutes on our town meeting for just that time to use the electronic voting device, because it's a pause.
Okay.
So they get 90 seconds per article after the
Oh.
motion. So you think,
Okay.
and I think there's flexibility in how much time you give people. That would be up to the moderator. For Georgetown, that's what they did. Marblehead, that had some interesting things going on there, but some of the articles with this particular one, so Marblehead got electronic voting, I think the person said 3 years ago, but the moderator can choose which articles they would use the electronic devices for and which ones they wouldn't. It did at one point make a resident upset. He mentioned his frustration in dealing with the clickers and threw it on the floor and walked away. That's 2 hours into the meeting. You can find it on YouTube. So I think I encourage the select board members to watch some of the other town meetings to get some ideas. You can see what works and what doesn't. Obviously, the quorum size makes a huge difference. Marblehead was 300, but they had a full crowd because they had an override, I believe. But it's really interesting to see, peek over the fence, see what they do.
Yep.
So thank you for that presentation. Next up, we have the trash and recycling program update.
Yes. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to give an update. I'm actually scheduled to go before the Council on Aging for Q&A to just give an update in regards to what's going to be changing in the trash and recycling program. And since we haven't really necessarily had an opportunity to discuss it here at the Select Board, I figured I would share with you my draft. And
Excellent.
you can give me some comments and feedback and takeaways, and we can discuss things in a little bit more detail. So first off, I have an overview. So we're looking at an automated trash collection with our new hauler, G Mello, and they will serve as a new waste hauler, providing fully automatic curbside collection. We will also have new household carts. Residents will receive a new standardized trash cart for collection. We are going to be working on a 3-day collection schedule. Trash pickup will occur on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And then we will also have a bi-weekly recycling collection, and that will happen every other week, and it will be on an A and B week system. So for the new carts, every household will receive one 65-gallon trash cart. Most households have already received one 96-gallon recycling cart. The delivery timeline is expected to be in early June, so we're just refining those details. So we hope to have an actual date to either insert into this presentation and or to come out after the fact. There is a cart requirement. You must use the 65-gallon cart for a minimum of 30 days before requesting a smaller size. There's only certain eligible households. The smaller cart eligibility will be set in terms of mobility issues, accessibility, difficult to maneuver the cart due to the size or the length of driveway, etc. The cart removal, there will be a drop-off event held for those unwanted carts. So if you currently have a trash cart and you will not be using it or repurposing it for something else, we will soon to be announcing a date where you can drop off that cart here at Town Hall, and we will take care of that for you. So we did have that in the town meeting warrant. If you recall, we said about $15,000 aside, so that can range from the smaller recycling bins that we currently had distributed, the blue bins or the green bins, or it can be a 96 or 65 gallon or whatever you're currently using.
Could I ask a question on that last slide? The previous slide? So smaller cart eligibility. Smaller carts will only be available to qualifying households, and there's certain qualifications, but then we're saying you have to wait a minimum of 30 days. So we're saying if we have, I don't know, somebody with a physical limitation, they can't move the cart, we're gonna make them wait 30 days?
We wouldn't make them wait 30 days if they had a qualifying factor. But
Okay.
the idea is that a lot of people might be like, well, I don't need the 65 gallon, I want the 35 gallon. And it was recommended through other communities that have gone through this program to have at least 30 days to try it. And most people will end up keeping the 65 instead of going down to the 35. But again, if there's extenuating circumstances and you can't move the 65, obviously we would waive that period.
All right, I just think we should be clear about that. And
Yep, I can make that adjustment.
Is the trash cart going to be a different color?
Yes, the trash carts will be black.
Okay.
Quick question, why Monday, Tuesday, Friday? Why not like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
So in talking with the hauler, that made the most sense because if there was a missed pickup, they would be able to recollect before the weekend.
Right, but I think some of the negative feedback we got was on people that had Friday pickup, if they didn't get, if there was snow or something, yeah, she's laughing. They were the ones that like suffered, you know, like the Friday pickup. Nobody liked being on the Friday pickup because of that. Is there any way to move that to a Thursday?
We can talk to the hauler to see if they'd be willing to change the day.
Okay.
But those were the days that they had provided, and they had said that that was the day they would be able to have the truck in town, and that it would make the most sense for their operation. But again, I can go back and ask them if they could make a change.
Right, and then because the Monday holidays,
Correct.
right, because then when you have the Monday holiday, then Monday, Tuesday goes to Tuesday, Wednesday.
They really don't have Monday holidays that they recognize.
Oh.
There's usually only one or two when it comes down to
Okay.
either Christmas or New Year's that it impacts our schedule. All other Mondays usually are standard pickup
Right.
days.
Well, it just seems like if we could get Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, then if you were on the Thursday and something went wrong, you'd still have a chance on Friday. Or if there was a snowstorm Friday, not have to wait through the whole weekend.
I can inquire.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's worth inquiring, because I know I'm a Friday pickup, and I never had to wait until Monday to get picked up.
No?
No,
Oh, my mom hates her Fridays.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a hated pickup day.
So for, again, this collection schedule, there's a three-day weekly trash collection schedule. The recycling will move to the bi-weekly service, and again, as we talked about, there will be an A week and a B week. And we will be posting an updated calendar on the website, and then we will also be doing a mail delivery to all households.
Wow.
And here's an example, it's really hard to see, but
Yeah.
it will be much larger and easier to navigate in print and on our website. But it essentially shows you what routes are there, and there'll be a color for the days that you'd have your trash pickup, and then it would be, the first one is the collection schedule for the recycling. So you can see that the blue is A week and the green is B week. And then again, on the second photo, you can see the various different colors, and that's the days, the Monday, Tuesday, and Friday pickup.
Can I just ask, when they did the division into the routes, one of the things that some residents found confusing is the old routes, some people got picked up on one side of the same road, one different day than the other side. Are we going to just, like, the whole, that piece of road should be the same? You know what I mean, on both sides?
Yes,
Is that-
the sections are much cleaner than they are with
Oh,
our,
good, okay. Because
with
that, I know that
proposal instead of what our
confused
current
people.
contract is.
Yeah, make it easy.
So there will be an overflow transition period because we will no longer be collecting overflow trash bags. So for the month of July, the hauler has agreed to pick up an overflow bag if it is placed on top of the cart. And only bags that are placed on top of the cart will be collected. And then once that transition period of July is over, then they will no longer pick up the overflow bags.
Right.
We've also, just as a side note, talked to Waste Zero, so they are no longer selling those overflow bags. And if anybody has them, you can use them as a regular trash bag, so it's not completely useless. So other important things to know, as we discussed, and I'll update this, there is a requirement to use the cart for 30 days before requesting a smaller size. There will be a cardboard drop-off location. We're still working on the location, but if you have cardboard, you can break it down and you can just drop it off, and you won't have to worry about putting it in your recycling. The overflow policy, we will no longer be accepting the overflow bags. For missed pickups, we currently have a system online that's no longer necessary. All you need to do is call Gmello and vet that number, and they will come and pick up your missed pickup. And again, we want to stress that it is mandatory to use the town carts. It does not matter if you have a 65-gallon trash cart. If it does not have the seal on it and it is not a town-issued cart, the hauler will not pick it up.
Right. Can you want to explain that so that people understand? Because I know some people are like, well, I have this great cart. They need to know that it's their cart, that it's in good condition, that liability rise, everything's the way it should be, right?
Correct, so it's a way for us to standardize our trash pickup and to make sure that from the, we're not putting out multiple different barrels at multiple different sizes. You'd be surprised at when we went through the survey with the Trash and Recycling Committee, how many people didn't know what size their trash can was, whether it was a 35, 65, then there's a 32, but at 34, there's all different sizes. So this standardizes that so that we can budget appropriately and knowing how much trash you're eligible to put out in front of your household, in addition to the recycling as well. So it is just a way to standardize that, and they must be town issued because that is what the truck can also handle. So we won't run into the issue if there's crushed barrels or things like that, and we own those barrels. So if there's an issue with the wheel or something, we'll be required to fix that. So for important dates, as we had mentioned, in early June, we will be delivering the carts. The drop-off for the older carts will be announced shortly. And then the first day of pickup with G Mello will be June 29th. And the reason that we did that is that we wanted to start the week because it would be midweek otherwise, and it was just causing too much confusion.
Yeah.
So in working with Waste Management, they allowed us to do that. So we're grateful for that, and we are excited for June 29th. So if there's any questions about the new program, you are welcome to reach out to Elise Travis, who's the Board of Health Administrative Assistant, or myself. We will be posting additional information up on our website. And as you'll note with the recycling carts, there's actually a QR code on your recycling cart. And if you scan that, it'll bring you to what you see over on the right-hand side, which gives you information about who to call for missed collection, trash and recycling schedules, bulk pickup items, recycling 101. So it gives you an opportunity to see what you can recycling, what you should be recycling. If you can't recycle it, where can you? It links you to Massachusetts State resources that are very valuable. So all that information is at your fingertips, and you'll also be getting the same QR code on the trash carts. So you will have the same capabilities. And as I mentioned before, we are doing a town-wide mailing that Mello is going to be handling financially for us. We're in the process of getting the template together. We are modeling that mailer off of feedback from Amesbury, Boxford, Topsfield, and some of the other communities that Mello has worked with in their transition to their new program. So we have a lot of good information and key takeaways. So all of that information will also, again, be on the website, as well as G Mello will update their website as they do for all of their member communities. So you'll be able to click on their website and get to the same information. So again, if there's any additional questions, please let me know. I will update the presentation based upon the helpful feedback in regards to the 30-day time period and making sure that that's clear, adding some additional information about the colors. And then I will follow up with Mello concerning the schedule and see if there's any way that we can ship that Friday to earlier in the week.
Right. And just as far as customer service, it won't be like what we had with Waste Management when you're on hold with somebody out of state. It's not going to be like that.
Correct.
Maybe you could say that.
Their calls will be answered by the individuals in their office in Georgetown.
Yes.
I think one piece you could add to it too is I see people that with the recycling carts, they have them facing the wrong way. It makes me crazy. I saw there's a street in particular, I think one neighbor does it and then everyone else does the same, and I'm like, I almost took a picture. But maybe to have something on here, this is how it should look, this is how it shouldn't look. Like, does the lid have to be closed all the way? Is it okay for it to be open and like piled up?
No.
Thank you. How close, like, make sure it's to the road, right? Like, don't have it up your driveway because obviously you need that arm to pick it up. Make sure it's facing the right way. I know it has the directions on the top, but I think it might be worth adding a slide. Images are everything, right? Nothing to read, just the big X, don't do this, and then the check mark if it's good.
Perfect. I can make that happen.
Okay.
I like it.
Do some like modeling with some carts you have. Any other suggestions?
Just one. On the trash and recycling page, once it's updated, we'll have information if someone does end up with a broken wheel on their car
Yes.
about how to replace that. Okay.
Who they will call
Yep,
and
perfect.
what will be the process in order to get that fixed, correct?
Great.
Great, super. Thank you very much, that was good.
Great.
All right, appointments and resignations, we do not have any for tonight. Approval of the minutes, we have 2 sets of minutes. When I look the first one, Ed was absent, so we'll have to vote on these separate.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the board minutes for April 23rd, 2026.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? No, all in favor? 4 in favor, 1 recusal.
Abstain.
Abstain, thank you. And April 27th.
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the board minutes for April 27th, sorry, 2026.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor? Any discussion? No, all in favor? All right, unanimous. Next, we have old and unfinished business. We have the committee board template, Recreation Committee and Town Meeting Study Committee.
I have not heard from the Recreation Committee, but I did hear from the Town Meeting Study Committee, which might be no longer necessary.
Right.
But the moderator had mentioned coming in potentially at an upcoming meeting and discussing town meeting, and at that particular point in time, might give an update about the findings of the Town Meeting Study Committee. So I'm not sure if we just continue to hold on that item, or if there's a different direction the board would like to take.
I'm not sure. I think the rec committee met last week, so I don't know. I haven't had a chance to watch it or talk to anybody. I'm not sure if they had that on their agenda, but we could follow up, and then if it's
Yeah.
not going anywhere, maybe remove it.
Right, because I know, I was looking back, it looked like we agreed upon it on December 8th, and I don't know if, are we making it too complicated? Like, that was my worry with it.
Yeah, I think the town meeting study committee did their thing, but then the
Yeah.
question is what happens with
Right.
that committee. I'm not sure, quite frankly, if the rec committee met between when we did that and
Right.
last week, so.
And then we have a Groveland Day Committee that was mentioned before, right, as another one that would potentially.
I don't know that we officially put them on the list. I think
Okay.
we had agreed originally to pilot the
Okay.
town meeting study and recreation committee. Obviously hasn't worked out as
know.
anticipated, but it could be something where maybe we decide to just take a shot at it and send it to them as opposed to waiting for them to.
Right,
Send it to us.
because sometimes it's easier for them to edit than have a blank piece of paper. All right, we have other items not reasonably anticipated at the time of posting. Ed, anything?
None.
No, Steve?
Nope.
Jason?
Nope.
Nope.
I did have something. We do have correspondence down below about Memorial Day services, but this is our last meeting before Memorial Day. So Groveland Memorial Day services are on May 21st, Thursday at 6:30 at the fire station. I wanted to recommend a select board represent and speak and encourage others to support and attend. So I didn't know if we had a volunteer on the board to speak at the Memorial Day services.
We have a new chair.
I spoke last year.
Oh, okay, then our vice chair.
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Excellent.
I thought maybe you had, but I wasn't sure.
I did, yeah, and it was incredible, and I'm definitely I will attend and support for sure. And then the Haverhill Memorial Day Parade on May 25th. I don't know if we've ever participated in that.
No.
It
It
is,
would be nice to, as a board.
right, so that's Monday, it is on Memorial Day at 10 a.m. Looks like it starts at 64 Canosa Avenue and goes to Linwood Cemetery.
Yeah.
So there might be something, if we wanted to participate, what would that look like?
I know I'm available.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm just checking.
I will neither confirm nor deny. I have such a busy schedule right now, at the end of the year.
Okay,
So I'm
all
just like,
We'll get you next year.
I'm
yeah.
tentatively available.
wait till I
Tentatively?
retire.
And Ed, would you be available for the Haverhill Memorial Day Parade?
Probably not.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, definitely not.
Okay, that's fair. Maybe we'll keep it in mind for next year to participate, but at least we have the Groveland representation
Yep.
for May 21st. So that's all I had for other items. So next we have town administrators time.
So, unfortunately for all of you, I'm always trying to find ways to reinvent myself and to improve the way that I share information, and I have decided to try something new this meeting. So as you can tell, PowerPoint seemed to be the theme. And I think that a lot of the feedback that I heard was that a lot of the people who are either attending the meeting or at home are unable to follow along with the memo since they don't have the memo right in front of them. So this would be an opportunity to essentially share those updates because it is my opportunity to share with you all the things that I'm working on a day-to-day basis, not necessarily for discussion purposes, since that comes if we wanted to add something to the next agenda, but just as a way to keep you informed and another way to keep residents informed. So I tried to use my memo as like a template as to how to proceed with the information. So we'll see how this goes. Again, I welcome any feedback, criticism, all of it good. So for administrative updates and actions, I actually, the executive coordinator was going through as part of one of her goals to finish out the year is to go through all of those filing cabinets in our office and just organize them. It has been a crazy plethora of documents from 80 million different boards, individuals, issues. It's been quite the undertaking, but we actually found documentation about the paraambulation process, which is something that's required under Massachusetts general law, and it is a way that a formal process of walking the boundary lines in a
Right.
municipality.
Yeah.
And we do have documentation back from 1995. That was the most official that we could find, the most recent.
Yeah.
In which case that we went forward with, I think it was Boxford, Georgetown, and Newbury, and performed this action. It doesn't necessarily have to be a select board member or a counselor. It could actually be somebody that you designate if you wanted to designate the conservation agent or Annie or myself to do that. But it was something that was interesting that was brought to our attention. And while there's no, I think it's a $20 fine if you don't comply, it's not necessarily enforced. But in asking council whether or not this is just one of those old archaic laws, should we be doing something with it? They said that, you know, it might be useful, and actually in their research found that in a couple of communities it has become a point of contention when they've seen just how much the boundary lines has shifted either due to erosion and encroachment or things of that nature. So they had suggested that it would be something that we take a look at. So I just wanted to get it on your radar since it became something that was brought to our attention. We don't see any pressing concern or any need to do it right away, but it was just something interesting that we wanted to share with the board. Also, for those of you who haven't already seen, the Senate released their fiscal year 2027 budget proposal. One of the greatest things is that they had increased the Chapter 70 funding to $160 per pupil. We were very excited to see that. They had also recommended a 75 reimbursement rate for a special education circuit breaker and to support a 90% reimbursement rate for regional school transportation. They also added a $53 million increase to unrestricted government aid, and for Groveland, that would amount to an increase of $47,000 from the House version. While obviously we'd like to see a lot more, we appreciate more being offered in this round.
Yeah, well, before you moved off that slide, what was the reimbursement rate in the school budget that we approved for our assessment?
For ours, I believe that it was the 30.
Not the per student, I mean the reimbursement on regional transportation.
I'm not sure. I'd have to double check.
Because I think that, I'd just like to know the amount of money that has changed.
I'd have to check in the school's budget to see what that amounted to.
Because they've never adjusted the budget when they get more money.
No.
Right. And this might be the year to inquire.
Yes, we can do that. So again, this now heads to conference committee, where they will inevitably slash some things and come to a happy medium. But hopefully that in fact works to our advantage, so we will stay tuned. But it was nice to see that the Senate had made some adjustments. For building updates, I just wanted to alert the board that the doors over at the public safety building have been installed, and we're in the process of taking a look at the new lock system that will be installed both at the public safety building as well as at the town hall, which will come with a key fob and also be programmable. So if there's somebody who's scheduled to meet here after hours, it will automatically unlock, and then it will lock after the fact. So that takes care of a lot of the back and forth that we had with checking out the key from dispatch, et cetera. So we're very excited that that's almost coming to fruition. But the doors look great, and we're really excited that we can actually say that that project has been completed. It's also very nice to see that the windows at the library have been replaced. I felt as though it was entirely necessary to show before and after photos because it was just so mind-blowing that you could not see out the window at all before. And now with the new windows, it's so much brighter and lighter in the library, and we're really excited to see that transition.
Yeah.
And then also along those lines, just to alert you all that the capital planning process season has begun. Now that town meeting has passed those capital articles, we are working to move forward with the roofs as well as the electrical project. We are working with an architect so we can get those drawings underway. We are hoping that the roof project in its entirety will be completed by December 30th, 2026, so this year. So hopefully all goes smoothly. The electrical project is a little bit more challenging because there's a little bit more for moving pieces in terms of where and how the buildings will receive their electricity for when we're moving things offline and online again, and then making sure that the police department is online 24 hours. We've also started to place orders for the cameras, servers, equipments, and vehicles. I know it seems early, but a lot of this is 12-week lead time, so by the time we are actually able to receive the equipment won't be until, later July, August. So getting the orders in now is just a way to try and get it ahead in that line. So we've just signed commitments that say that we would pay, obviously, receiving the equipment after the first of the fiscal year, and would not be able to spend any monies prior to. So additional administrative updates and actions. Unfortunately, it is the season for performance evaluation. So taking a page from the select board and the template that you have created, I am working to also incorporate that as part of the template that I am using for the departments for this year. So I'm just catering it towards each individual department. And then once that's done, we will start scheduling those performance evaluations. We did receive the cybersecurity training grant, so we are in the process of scheduling that. We elected for the 6-hour course to make sure that we are getting the most out of the training for our department. So Annie is working on getting that all scheduled and making sure that the modules line up and that we are making sure each department is represented in some way, shape, or form. For highway departments, if you haven't already seen today, preparation has been underway for the paving on Wilbur, Doris, and Deer Run. Street sweeping is also beginning today, May 11th. Installation of the roadway delineators is scheduled. So as the chief was talking about, those are the delineators that would be in front of the Stark and Cronk building, now John Guilfoyle's building in the square, as well as the delineators that we're scheduled to put out here on Main Street to help with the traffic calming. The emergency action plan is updated, so Arthur is in the process of scheduling the department review. Once the department review is finalized, we will be bringing it to the select board to do a meeting with the select board. We will also like to include the Conservation Commission in that meeting, so we would like to extend an invite to them to participate so that we can have them involved as well, since there's a lot of wetland impact. If there was anything to happen to the dam if it were to fail, which is essentially what an emergency action plan is. If the dam fails, what do we do? And then also we had our kickoff meeting with the highway garage design. This was a capital improvement plan that was that was approved last fiscal year. And so we just met with the engineers and they have done the survey. So now that the survey is complete, they're looking at where they could potentially locate. So they did meet with the highway foreman as well to take into consideration some of the design that would be necessary for MS4 permitting, cleaning of the trucks, storage of the storage of their equipment, materials, etc. And then another long-awaited update is that the base bridge repairs. There's been potholes, and there have been numerous complaints from residents here in Groveland about the condition of the bridge. And after email, call, and threats that people were just going to come in and fill in the potholes with whatever they could because their tires were getting ruined, we finally heard a response from Mass DOT, and they are going to have their crews out there to be in surface repairs tomorrow, May 12th. And the work will take place during the daytime, and it will minimize disruption, and there will be, they will maintain two-way traffic during that process.
Can I just ask, looking at the amount of damage on that new bridge, can they give us a summary of what exactly, I mean, we entitled to know what they're going to do to repair it? Because I don't understand why that new bridge would fall apart like that, especially on the span that opens. That's really dangerous. I mean, structurally, you got to wonder what, I mean, they're talking about all the bridges in the state that are so old. This bridge is brand new, 10 years old, right?
Something along that line.
And it basically has fallen apart in the middle span.
I can make inquiries as to what was the cause of the deterioration and what their plans are for future maintenance.
Well, what are their plans to do something so that doesn't happen again? Is that, are they going to tell us, we're going to do this so this can't happen?
I can ask.
Yes, that would be, I think that's what our residents are looking for that have been dealing with it.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, the concrete that was over the grading of the bridge was so thin, it just crumbled. It was,
That's what it looks like.
it's just a poor design. I mean, I don't think it's anything structural from what I can see. When I look at the grading underneath, it's the same grading you find on bridges that go straight down to the water that's completely open. It looks like they just filled it with concrete.
Well,
Very broad.
but I mean, if they're just going to do the same thing again, then the same thing will happen again, right? Definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So are they going, we'd like to know, are they going to do something so that this result will not happen?
I can make the inquiry and then share the response with the board.
Oh, when did you get word that they were going to do the work? I'm just curious.
Tomorrow.
I know, but when did they notify you?
So they notified me, I want to say Friday, and then they sent another email, and they said that you had reached out to them as well. So I just received another update today.
What did you write to them?
Did a Freedom of Information Act for all the maintenance and repairs they've done on the bridge for the last 2 years. Nothing gets their attention like that.
Be an extensive box of,
I make it more than I want, but I just know state authorities don't like that.
So other administrative updates, the Affordable Housing Trust engagement, if you recall, the select board had requested that we table the warrant article that was proposed for the affordable housing bylaw.
Yeah.
So now that there was a request for additional information, I wanted to reach out to the Massachusetts Housing Partnership to identify additional resources and support in initiating a more robust communication with the select board and the residents about the potential in moving forward in that direction. So I met with Shelley Gorig today with MHP, and she gave me some ideas. So we're going to be starting at your either next meeting or the first meeting in June, providing a one-pager with some updated information. We're going to be looking to bring in either North Andover or Newburyport and their Affordable Housing Trust and have them come in and talk about how they've used their housing trust and what their housing trust process looks like and what projects they were able to move forward. And then have maybe a one-on-one boot camp with Shelley and her team to give you more information and background. And then, you know, in the fall time period, if it's still something that the board would like to pursue or that you've had more information, we can start to take a closer look at the drafted bylaw and see if any changes need to be made. And if necessary, bring it forward. And if not, then we know that we're all set for right now. But I figured that we wanted to give it its time and its due diligence since the board really didn't have enough time to actually review and get into the details. For the Community One-Stop Grant, I just wanted to let you know that we are submitting again this year for 150 Center Street zoning review. We were unsuccessful in our attempt last year, but we believe we would be more successful in the upcoming cycle due to some feedback that we received from the reviewers and having a one-on-one meeting with the rural development team at the state. And then also to let you know that at your next meeting, we will be discussing 150 Center Street and a proposed temporary 3-year licensing agreement with National Grid. They would like to use an area at 150 Center Street as a laydown area. They are having a transmission line replacement project that is going to be happening along the corridor. and they are proposing to use about 10 acres. It is towards the center. It will be out of jurisdiction from the Conservation Commission. The cricket folks are not going to be using the area this year, and will provide an estimated about $180,000 per year of additional revenue to the community, per the discussed lease amount per acre. That could result in more money. I'm hopeful that it will. That was kind of on the lower end, but it is a great opportunity for a temporary, short-term licensing agreement, because it's not a lease, and it would be something that we would make sure protected the interest of the community. So if there was an issue, they would be forced to remove their equipment. Working with town council now to make sure that the language is pretty secure, so that it again maintains our rights. And in order to move forward, we would obviously need the select board to approve. So I will be presenting to you, hopefully at the next meeting, an agreement that has been reviewed by town council and agreed to by National Grid for your signature, so that we can move forward.
Question on that? National Grid gas or National Grid electric?
Electric. And for us, I think it's obviously with the uncertainty in terms of next year's budget cycle and what we have for revenues, and talking about overrides and capital needs, again, talking about the fact that at town meeting, we allowed for us to move forward with the residential units over at VZ and the capital upgrades that would be necessary, having an additional one-time revenue of this nature to help our reserves move forward with our capital planning and not rely on the needs of the tax, or the tax dollars, in order to make sure that those other items are off the table and we can focus solely on our operating side of things. Is a great opportunity for us to capitalize on those funds that would otherwise not be available for land that is just currently sitting there at the current time. So
But that parcel of land is, how many acres is that parcel?
60.
60, that's what I thought. And could we get like a map that shows like how much of it is set aside for conservation or well
So
protection?
that's part of
And then where this would be, and
the
then.
conservation restriction is already mapped out in the back, and they're not looking at the back. They're looking towards the middle of the site where the cricket folks were.
I know, I just want to kind of see the whole thing at one
So
time.
the license agreement will only show you the laydown area that they're looking at. It won't show you the whole site. But I can get a visual from the feasibility study that we did with
Okay.
Niche Associates, and I think that will give you a better overview of the parcel as well.
Thank you, I'd like that.
So I'll do that for you at the next email that I send out.
Could I ask one question as well? So you said the Cricket League is not using the field
They're
anymore?
not going to be moving forward this year.
Okay.
Next on the list is MEVA. I just wanted to take a moment to share that Groveland resident Jay Collins was unanimously voted as the disability representative to the MEVA Advisory Board. Jay has been very involved in the community, serving as a library trustee, and he actually was just newly elected as a Groveland Housing Authority member. He also utilizes the paratransit and fixed route bus system. The disability representative represents the needs and experiences of individuals with disabilities to help ensure accessibility and inclusion in public services and decision-making. So Jay attended his first meeting. I was able to introduce him to the group this past Thursday, and it was great to see Groveland represented in numerous capacities. So a few other administrative updates. 46 Washington Street, we are moving forward with survey. They should be out there this week. So a wetland scientist has already been on site to begin the wetland delineation, and the field crew is expected to complete their survey within the next 2 weeks. And then also to alert the board that it was brought to our attention that the guardrail on the community trail behind Whitestone was cut. Upon further investigation, it appears that the highway crew had removed the section of the guardrail to help a couple of the residents that were looking to enter the trail from Whitestone Village. So while the intention was good, it needed to go through proper process. We don't own Whitestone's property, so to allow for public access on private property requires us to have consulted with Whitestone Homeowners Association and management in order to facilitate such. Also, their path is not a paved path, so there's accessibility issues, and again, you're inviting the public onto private property. So we need to determine whether or not the select board would like us to approach Whitestone in regards to making that connection off the trail, or if we just want to replace the wooden guardrail.
I heard so. I thought we wanted this. Where did I talk? Who did I speak with from Whitestone about this? I knew. I thought, oh, Whitestone finally got their access. That's great. I had no idea that they didn't want it. So you think Whitestone maybe doesn't want this?
I don't think that they don't know. I think they probably do want it, but there's just appropriate process. We spent
Okay.
federal funds constructing a $2.5 million trail, and
Okay.
the highway crew just cut an opening to create a spur without getting approval from National Grid, who's the property owner, the select board, who's in charge of managing the trail, and then also making sure that the private
Okay.
property owners that you're inviting into that property are okay with that, and not just the couple of the members that you've talked to, but the board as a whole,
I'm
which
trying to
has
think
the
of who
legal
I
authority
spoke to.
over such matters. So it's just
Yeah.
a formality kind of thing. I think everybody's in favor of it. I think, like, again, it was well-intentioned. It wasn't anything that I think anyone did any wrong per se. It's just process.
Okay.
When did they do that?
I'm not sure exactly when the
Is that a
time
second
frame is.
entrance? Because I thought there was always an entrance.
No.
No, it was clearly cut. You can see it in the photos. And when we asked the highway crew, they said they cut it.
So
Right.
now there are two?
No, there's one. They never had access to the trail from Whitestone.
I thought
So there's, if
No,
you
they
look at
didn't.
further up the trail on, I think.
Ann Street. Ann
Balch?
Street.
No, not Balch.
Ann. Isn't it Ann Street?
Baldwin.
Thank you,
Baldwin?
Baldwin, there's an opening, and then if
Okay.
you go further up on Center Street, there's an opening there. So there's a guardrail all the way,
Yes.
the rest of the way.
Oh, my God. Who did I speak to?
So if the board is in favor, I can start to initiate the process with Whitestone just to see, I mean, we can put it on an agenda to have an official vote, but I can start to get information from Whitestone whether or not they would even entertain such so that we can have a more productive conversation at our next meeting.
Right, because they'd have to be prepared for people to be able to walk through their backyard.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
And they might not want that. So a few
Okay.
residents may because they can easily access a trail,
Yeah.
but others may not. And then, like, we have our process, they have their process, so they would need to take a vote and decide.
Yeah,
Okay,
You run
yeah.
into issues with other places wanting an
Do you
open.
need a motion from us to
Right.
Well,
move
since
on?
it's not an agenda item, I wouldn't do that, but I just getting some direction, I'll bring it before the board and get some feedback. so you
Yes,
have
find
all
out.
the information.
Find out what they want, whether they want this or not. Yeah,
And then we'll put it on
absolutely.
for an
Thank you.
official conversation. But just to alert you, that was done. It was brought to my attention, and we found out that, again, well-intentioned, there was no process that was
It looks
followed.
from the picture that it's been well used.
It
No,
has been, yeah.
Somebody I was speaking to must have been during the election stuff. Yep.
So for CPC project updates, the shade structures have now been installed over at the dog park as well as over at the Bagnell, excuse me, not the Bagnell, but the Pines playground.
Yeah.
Also, the skate park area has been loamed and seeded, and we are just making another request for everyone to be mindful so that we can grow some grass in that area, because if the grass doesn't grow, the dirt will just come back down into the skate park and become very muddy. It is very heavily utilized, so I'm not extremely optimistic that it will not grow.
With the wind that we had, there was a lot of seeds that was in the skate park.
Yeah. So, but we are mindful of that, and we will continue to try and see if we need to bring in somebody to hydro seed, we can do that as well. But we were just taking a first attempt at maybe capitalizing on some of this rain. The wind obviously didn't help, but we will see.
Okay.
So upcoming events and administrative approvals, we have the Library Board of Trustees is meeting on May 13th. There's the MBTA Focus 2050 Open House on May 19th. And then on May 17th, this is just an FYI that the Harmonies of Hope event is happening at the Pines. That's the larger scale event that we had, the Select Board had approved. So just so you see some activity down there, I wanted you to be mindful. May 17th, that was a Select Board approved event. Field use properties and special permit events, we did approve a bake sale over at Washington Park. We did coordinate with the Groveland Youth Baseball League to make sure that they were out of the way and staying clear and providing appropriate access for the teams to use the property, so that was fine. For procurement, we have the camera upgrades at the Bagnell Elementary School, exit signs for VZ Memorial Park, and then the trail enhancements for the trail bridge. For special projects, the Valley Screw Building, to let you know, we have made progress and we have access to the site, and we will be having a contractor out there sometime this week to do some additional environmental testing in the building. As we discussed, if that environmental testing shows that there is asbestos or whatnot, we could potentially receive additional funding from the EPA to demolish and remove the building, which is essentially what we'd like, to remove the eyesore. However, if they do not find the asbestos that would allow us to take advantage of that program through the EPA, if they do find additional hazardous materials in the building, that will give us a better understanding of what it will cost to actually demolish the building, so it is not wasted effort. This is monies that were set aside by Senator Tarr for further investigation, so we are appreciative of that. So hopefully we will have good news to report. Again, I know that's not always something that you hear, like, yay, there's asbestos in the building. But if there is, it does give us access to additional funding through the EPA, which would be really great, because it wouldn't only fall to the town.
Well, thank you for staying on top of that. So many years, everybody said, nothing we can do, nothing you can do, and you've been sticking to it, so thank you.
Slowly but surely, we'll get there.
Thank you.
Another project that I did want to just update the board on is at the bottom, we have the PRSD regional agreement. We did send that letter, as you saw, from the attorney regarding the enrollment figures. We have our monthly meeting scheduled with PRSD tomorrow. They informed myself and the other two managers with West Newbury and Merrimack that they had nothing to update us on and they don't see a need for us to meet. So they are not taking our concerns seriously. They have not addressed our concerns. The school committee has not addressed our concerns. So I'm meeting tomorrow with, again, the West Newbury Town Administrator as well as the Merrimack Town Administrator to discuss what we can do and give them more information about our findings in regards to the enrollment. We had talked about potentially updating the regional agreement because we need to update the regional agreement. But the other option, like we talked about, is doing a memorandum of agreement for the enrollment aspect, because if they're not going to follow what it is that they say, which doesn't work to their advantage, but if they did follow the DESI enrollment numbers, that is exactly what they need and that what they're trying to do anyway, making a memorandum of agreement with West Newbury and Merrimack would allow us to see that in fiscal year '28. Whereas if we have to go through an actual amendment of the agreement itself,
Takes too long.
it won't get done in time. So we'll run into the situation where we don't want to run into with the school committee, is that we don't want to put them at a disadvantage. That's not the whole point of this. We want them to get the funding. We want them to assess us appropriately, and we want to pay them what we have to pay them. We just want that figure to be correct, meaning that the enrollment number needs to be the correct enrollment number. So if it needs to be what you're putting in your regional agreement, then you need to cut out about half of the students that you're including that shouldn't be included, or you need to use the DESI numbers, which we can tie directly to the state numbers.
Right.
So hopefully I'll have a productive conversation with both Angus and Carol tomorrow, and we'll be able to identify a pathway forward. I think that the more support we get from West Newbury and Merrimack on this matter will only force the issue, whereas right now it's just Groveland. So I think that it would be beneficial, so hopefully I'll have better news to report after that meeting. For administrative projects, I'm still working on the website improvements. I'm hoping to get the newsletter back online for June, and I am thinking that I'll probably try and do something similar to what the library as well as the COA do, and do like a bi-monthly kind of thing, so it's not every month, so that we can make sure that it's sustainable and that information is being shared. But hopefully that will be moving forward. And now that we know that the bathrooms have been approved for both Shanahan and Washington Park, we will need to pick up the conversation about the field permit and special event permit. So we have been reigniting that conversation and bringing that information forward. So at one of your upcoming meetings, we'll be discussing that in a little bit more detail. And if there's feedback or additional work that we can do behind the scenes to get you more information, that would be beneficial so that we can get that implemented for the fall. Then speaking of CPC projects in progress, as you know, we had all of those projects pass at annual town meeting. So with the Bagnell basketball courts, we actually just had a meeting with Sports Court in regards to the schedule, what that will look like at the end of school, in addition to the YMCA, and in addition to the capital improvement project of improving the entryway into the Bagnell. We're looking to pave and to improve the sidewalks coming into the school. So there will be a little bit of an impact. So we are working on that. We are working to identify a contractor for the bathrooms. We had originally gotten a quote from one company, but obviously for procurement reasons, we need to make sure that we have the, fab building that we'd be able to move forward with. And then hopefully at their next meeting for the CPC, they will have their grant agreements, and we can start working with the other individuals who are the community proponents for those following projects, the Vito, Perry Park, and the community garden. For grants, same as the last time that we reported, we're still waiting to hear back for the dams and seawall, as well as the community compact municipal fiber grant. For the financial snapshot, you can see that we're trending as we are expected to. The majority of our accounts are starting to get over 60%. Obviously, now that we are in May, we are watching those accounts like we had talked about, legal, technology, as well as OT for the police budget, as the police chief had talked about earlier this evening. We did make those transfers, so we are positive that we will be in good condition, but we have to go through all of our other accounts and see whether or not there's any other transfers that are necessary. So you should expect to see transfers before the board at your second meeting in June so that we can end the fiscal year in a positive. So we're hoping to get that before the finance board at their first meeting in June as well. But otherwise, there's no other areas from the financial review that we need to call into question. And then, as usual, I have a list of the meetings, events, and seminars that I've attended in the last 2 weeks. If there's anything specific that you would like me to highlight, I am happy to do so.
Any questions? No?
It's good.
That's the last of it. I have a question with regards to the door locks and the key fobs. Do you have any idea how they're going to be programmed at this time?
Meaning,
You said they could be programmed to be set to a schedule so you could change it. So how are they going to be programmed?
so there's a software that you go on, and so you can program it so that you can make it so that the doors open at 8 o'clock in the morning automatically, and that the doors lock at 4:30 automatically. And unless you have a key fob, you can't get into the building. So
You
there's.
said you could alter that for nighttime meetings.
Correct. So you can make it so that if there's a planning board meeting at 7 PM, you can allow the doors to open at 6:30 PM, or you can have somebody who will have a fob that can use the fob and open the doors. And then if that person loses the fob, then they can deactivate it, and we can also have an audit trail of who we give it to and when it was used.
And you can program that at 6 and it'll take effect right away at 7.
That's what I've been told. And there's,
The only reason why I ask is because the bathrooms do not work that way. And
Yes.
when they were programmed, they had to go through an entire 24-hour cycle before the program took effect.
this is different. This is automatic. And so, like, for example, like if you were a planning board member and you went to the meeting and the doors were locked and you're like, what, I can't get into the meeting, and you texted me, I would have the ability remotely, me and Steve would have the ability remotely to unlock the door from our house just by using the application and the software to do that.
Perfect.
So it's instantaneous.
Good.
That's what I've been informed. If something changes, I will make sure that that is not the case, but that's what I was told.
Good.
And I saw the fishing platforms, or the,
Yes.
yeah, what's the progress on that?
We're still in holding pattern because we're still waiting for the state to get back to us. So they were very enthusiastic, and now all of a sudden it kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
But we still have all of our proposals together with, I believe that Jason at the point had mentioned maybe improving the docks, and they said that they would be willing to do that, but it would be like a separate project. And then they said, well, what are you going to do about your fees? And like we had mentioned, can we potentially just keep them as they are now? And then they were going to set them for review to make sure that it was equitable. And then we stopped hearing from them. So we will follow up, but the last communications I had was that they were reviewing our fees to make sure that they didn't pose a problem. And if they didn't, then from my understanding, the next steps would be to sign the agreement that would allow them to take over.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have Select Board time and reports. Ed, do you have anything for today?
Yeah, just 2 items. One, I saw some advertisement somewhere, I think it was on the bridge, an electronics drop-off the Boy Scouts have this coming Saturday. I don't recall the time. They run one about once a year. The other thing, you mentioned, Rebecca, about the Groveland Bridge. How about Salem Street from the quarry to probably Staunton Road? That's getting worse. I think we've been through 2 winters it's like a minefield up there. And I saw that today they were doing Dana Drive. They were milling and grinding Dana Drive, and you mentioned the other streets off of School Street.
We have a point of order, because that sounds like an agenda item that we should have.
I thought I had the floor, but I
do.
guess I didn't. Go ahead,
Point of
Kathy.
order, that's all.
How about doing something about Salem Street? We've been through a couple of winters. It's absolutely ridiculous. Maybe you can get back to us at the next meeting on what's the schedule of that, because we're not going to be able to go through another winter with Salem Street like it is.
Correct, and if you go to the pavement management plan that's on our website, you'll see that Salem Street, it's scheduled to be paved, milled and overlaid from Sunset Circle to Staunton Road. So it is on the pavement management plan for this year, so you should be seeing that shortly.
It needs to go beyond Sunset. It needs to go to where the quarry is. The whole thing is bad from the quarry to Staunton Road.
So my understanding is that's the second phase. The first phase is that area because it's in really bad condition, and then the Chesterton is cutting into the roadway for their sewer connection, and therefore it needs to settle before they pave over it. So they're only doing that section now, and then next year they're supposed to be going from Staunton all the way past the Quarry Lake, you
So the
suggested.
poor people that are in that area, that travel that every day, they're going to have to go through another winter with that like it is.
We can bring the roadway, the highway superintendent in to discuss the plan if that's what the board would like to do.
Yeah, maybe add that to the next agenda.
We're due for an update on overall
Yeah.
pavement at some point soon, right?
Yes.
Is scheduled to do that in the July timeframe because that will let them go through and do all the work that's scheduled for this section.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe before then, then.
Yeah.
We can bring them in.
Yeah, get him out maybe ahead of time, just to see what he has to say. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know there is a plan, but just to reiterate some things. That'd be great. Thank you. And Steve, do you have anything?
I don't have anything tonight.
All right, Jason?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody that voted for me. I appreciate it. I was surprised that so many people still like me. So thank you very much. And I'd also like to thank Jay Collins, because I know he does work hard, and he's wanted to be on the Housing Authority for a very long time, so congratulations.
Excellent. Kathy?
Yes, I am honored and humbled to be able to serve another term. I know a lot of people say, why do you do that? And I'm like, I want to give back to the town. I feel like the town has given a lot to me and my family. And I had a good time down at the polls with Jason and Adam all day, and Becky came by. We had our share of visitors. We had some fun. Right, John? John gave us some food, some Gatorade, thank you. No, I don't really like it, but that was nice of you still. Anyway, we had a good time. It was a nice day, and, there's something that makes you feel good when you're able to try and help your town. And so it's a good feeling, and Adam did well, didn't get in, but he's doing a great job where he is, and I really got opportunity to chat with him a little more. It was fun. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
So for me, I wanted to share my appreciation for the residents that participated in town meeting and voted in our local election, because local politics do matter. Strong communities start with engaged residents, so thank you to everyone. Also, the guardrail is now installed on Salem Street above the dam, and that looks great. So thank you to the crew that did that. I really appreciate it. So the last part here, we have correspondence, which we have quite a bit in our packet today. National Grid Vegetation Management Plan update, Lawrence Hydroelectric Project filing of updated study report, a letter from town moderator Joe Demore, town meeting correspondence, town meeting study committee report, resignation letter from Reserve Officer Kyle Alardo, invitation to the Memorial Day services with the town of Groveland. Like I mentioned, that was on May 21st, Thursday, 6:30 at the fire station. Encourage residents to attend. An invitation to Memorial Day Parade from the city of Haverhill. And again, that is on Memorial Day on Monday at 10 a.m. For those that want to attend. And it looks like we are now at the end of our agenda. So the next scheduled meeting for the Select Board will be Tuesday, May 26th at 6:30 for the Memorial Day holiday. So we've concluded our agenda for May 11th. May I have a motion to close the meeting at 9:05?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No, no, all in favor?
Yep.
Unanimous. Thank you so much.